Good morning, everybody. We're here Monday morning to talk about this disc sander, and what I'll tell you for starts is I'm happy that it's nice and clean. You know, it's all swept up around it, and I like introducing a tool that way. Now this tool I really like this tool, and it's not just because it's the same color as my shirt, it's because it does a lot of work. And it's sort of a unique machine. It's a 18-inch disc sander. It takes a disc which sticks on the front here, and it glues on there. It turns 1,740 RPM. It's a single-phase motor, single-phase electric motor. It's 23 amps, and it's 2 horsepower. So what I'm going to tell you is it's got a lot of power. And you might look at this and go, I haven't seen many of these things. Well, I'm not surprised that you haven't seen many of these things, because I made it. Now, I made this one for us at US Workboats, and I made one that's used at Armstrong Marine, and I made one that's used at another company. And I like this machine because it's really handy for working with aluminum. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how we should use it. It's a very simple tool, but there's a few tips that we should all know. So when I look at this tool, it has a fairly nice quality. The disc is fairly new. You know, by the way, this disc should last about 3 or 4 months of continuous use. So that means we need to use 3 or 4 discs per year, and we can have, you know, 50, 80, 100 people using it. It doesn't just wear out, but we need to have this. We need to have a little wax. And it has aluminum in the surface, which means it isn't going to cut very good because nobody's been putting the proper amount of wax on it. I will say that you don't have to have a new tube of wax, because, you know, we can get in here fairly close, but we don't want to be putting a piece on there like that, because we obviously don't want to grind the ends of our fingers off. So these little pieces without any paper on them like that, you know, we need to be, our cleanup team needs to be throwing these away. We can use a tube that, you know, maybe it's like half, but not one of these. That's a little bit about the wax, and I'm going to be putting something on there before we go ahead and grind something. Okay, starting out, I want to get into a couple of safety concerns. Now, I will tell you, this is not a dangerous machine if it's used correctly. In fact, you know, it's very safe. But there is a couple things between the 12 o'clock and the 9 o'clock and the 12 o'clock. It's coming up, this turning in this direction. Okay, so we're not going to use that. Very similar to like our angle grinder. We're never going to use over there, because it's going to push the piece and going to fly up. So we don't use the flat of the table there. We do have this table accessible, and there's, you know, we don't use the bottom of the wheel, but we use between 12 and 3. Okay, and our objects need to be placed either flat down here on this table, or we can also take and we can put them across here this way to use the straight of this. Now it's using a little bit of that, but what we're saying, when we can use them here like that, but we aren't going to use between here and here like that, because it's going to be dangerous. It's going to fly up. Not going to do that. And we're also, and I will tell you, the only major accident I've seen with this tool is that a gentleman who used to work for me, and he stuffed a scraper down in here. Okay, this thing has 2 horsepower, and it's got a lot of rotating mass because it has this big thick disc on here. It's got a ton of torque, and he shoved something down in here. I can't believe that anybody would ever do that. You know, I never could fathom that somebody would do that, but as you can imagine, it grabbed it and it pulled his hand in here and took all the skin off of his knuckles. He didn't lose any fingers. He was a nice guy, but, you know, I guess the thing is, he couldn't work for 4 or 5 months, and so, you know, and besides, and it also damaged the equipment. So the only accident I've ever seen, we're just never going to stuff something in there. You know, it's like feeding it into, we just won't do that. We're going to use it here, we're going to use it here, and it's going to be very effective. And so that's And we are going to also use, we're going to use a pair of, we're always going to wear a pair of safety glasses, and I like to wear a set of earplugs when I'm in the shop. I like to wear them all the time because I want to be able to hear when I get a bit older. That's a little bit about safety. Okay, I've got a small piece of flat plate here, and I drew a radius on here. I drew it with my Sharpie around this zip cut, and I drew a smaller radius around here. And a lot of times what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be cleaning something up so that it looks a little nicer. And that's, generally what we do. And we also normally have this thing located somewhere near there shouldn't be a table by it, and it's located near the bandsaw, because the bandsaw can cut something like a radius pretty easily. This is a thicker piece of plate. So it should be like that. I'm going to go ahead and put some wax on the tool, and then we're going to get started. I've got my tool turned on, and it's just simply a switch down on the side to do that. And I'm going to put a little wax on here, like that. I'm going to grind it right through the paper. It's not going to make any difference. And by the way, over time, when we get the color is going to change to like a nice light gray, which means that there's this aluminum and wax mixed in there. It doesn't need very much. It needs a little bit. You keep wax near the tool. We've got the tool ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take and sand something. I've got a piece of, this is a piece of 3/8 plate, and I've cut a line on here, and I cut it on the bandsaw. And it's not perfect yet, and I like things perfect. You guys know that. There's the most power out near the edge of the stone, but we can use it anywhere in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and push on it. And I've got a beautiful radius on there. Really looks nice. Now you're going to say, if you remember the grinder video, you can say, well, Mr. Armstrong, these cuts are going across ways, and I thought you wanted them the long ways. Well, guess what? I like to take, and I like to put this thing up here, so the cuts are going the way we like them. And then I like to do that. Because it looks just beautiful. It really looks nice if you do that, especially with a thicker piece. And that might take a little bit of practice, but it looks nice, and it looks nice right now. We have a piece of 3/8 plate, actually that might be 1/2 inch, and it looks really, really nice, and it just took us a few seconds. I'm going to go ahead and move to the thinner plate for a second. We'll be right back with you. I've now got a piece of 3/16 plate, and this is a 3-inch radius on here. I got a smaller radius, and I'm not going to bandsaw because what I want to demonstrate is that this has a lot of power. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to sand that. And we've taken it this round. Well, guess what? This thing has a lot of power, and we can push on it a bit. And it's round. And we're going, hey, that looks like that's a really cool tool. We can take this disc sander, and we can probably do a little more with it. And you're not surprised I've got another piece of material here. I don't know if you can you see in there? Okay, I think that I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do this. And I'm going to put an angle on that. You're going, wow, that was pretty quick. It is pretty quick. And we can square that up. We can put one here. Now I would probably use another tool for that, because I can, but we can use it for that, and it's got that is a really cool tool. It's not very complicated. It's not dangerous. Now this sander doesn't require a lot of maintenance. We just simply keep it swept up around it, and we don't set stuff on here like a table or leave anything on there. The gap in here is supposed to be quite tight, and so if that comes out of adjustment, we can readjust that. The other thing about it is every so often we need to change the disc. I don't have one with me here today, but the way to do that is this peels off, because this is stuck on there, and what we do is we take it off and we slide the other disc down. It's got paper on the back. We slide it all the way down until it's lined up. We fold this disc out. Actually, what we do is we pull the paper down halfway and we fold it, Now we take and we spin it around and it sticks on the bottom. We pull the paper out, slap it on. I can go over that and show somebody how to do that if I didn't explain it well enough, but it's really easy and we don't get it stuck halfway on there. Doesn't require much more. I guess the thing about this sander is I actually really like it, and the only thing that I would say would make it better is if maybe we made another one. Thanks for watching.